Book entitled Road to Reconciliation and Beyond. Unlikely Friends Become Brothers. And he joins us to discuss this book that's set in the 60s with a very important message for today. Good morning, Charlie. How you doing?
Good morning, Chris. Thanks for letting me come talk to you.
Share with us just a short synopsis of this with our viewers.
Okay. Well, basically, I'm a short story writer, sort
Right.
of as a hobby kind of thing. And I thought when I heard about this singing group called The Velvets, they were from my hometown of Odessa, Texas. And back in the 1960s, they were one of the first original doo-wop singing groups.
Okay.
But I'd never heard of them, and I grew up there.
Right.
So because I'm a short story writer of sorts, I thought, I'd like to find out more about these guys. So I did a little research and come to find out one of the two survivors of the Velvets lived in Fort Worth, not far from me. So I was able to go and talk to Mark, and what he told me was fascinating because I was intrigued by their music.
Right.
It's terrific music, and then I started doing some research and found out about the story that he had to tell, that I grew up there too, but we didn't even know about the Velvets.
And, I mentioned it, what an important message from then, from the 1960s, that we could take with us today. Reconciliation is such a big word. It covers such a broad spectrum of things.
Well, thanks for asking about that.
Yeah.
When I went to talk to Mark, and he
Yeah.
told me about his growing up time in Odessa, and Odessa's a small town in West Texas, especially in 1960, but I just did not realize that it was a segregated society. Mark lived with the other brothers in the black community across the railroad tracks in Odessa. I hardly went over there. So it was a different kind of society that I grew up in and what Mark did. But as we conversed, and this was in the fall of 2020, so things were going on
With COVID, yes.
COVID and also just the racial kind of stuff. But as I talked to Mark and found out about the Velvets and their growing up times, I was fascinated by their story. And then I experienced, as I asked him about what it was like growing, and he told me about some things that I was not aware of. But the way he handled discrimination and segregation and bigotry and those kind of things really touched my heart, because I was not aware of this. And most people in Odessa did not know that at the time. So anyway, Mark and I became friends, and I said, how did you handle when you couldn't go into a restaurant or you couldn't go to a movie show or whatever? How did you do that? And he said, man, my parents and my pastor just taught me right. I'll let that stuff go. And I just, I forgave, and I moved on, and I accept you as my friend. And I was really sort of blown away with his wonderful attitude about some of the past in his life that I was totally unaware of.
And you have another book that you've done in the past called Remembrances.
It is.
And you like looking back at the past and bringing it forward, don't you?
Well, like I say, this book, Road to Reconciliation,
Right.
is a book, and I credit my publisher, Jan Carroll Publishing, for
Right.
saying to me, as I told her
Yes.
after meeting Mark, that I have a story, because
Right.
I thought it was just going to be a short story when I
Right.
went to meet Mark, and she said, a story like yours deserves a book, and so she helped me write a book. But yeah, I just write short stories about people I've met and experiences I've had and places that I've gone,
Right.
and it's an honor to do that.
Absolutely. More books in your future, or sticking with the short
Well,
stories?
sticking with short stories, that's my forte of sorts, but to have been able to write a story about Mark Prince and my relationship with him,
Right.
and then involving later on the community of Odessa
Right.
in West Texas. We had an event last summer to finally recognize one of the top singing groups, doo-wop singing groups in the country back in 1960, 61. And they weren't recognized before, but they are now.
Absolutely. Charlie, we appreciate you stopping by, sharing your story with us, a Mark story as well.
Thank you.
so
Thank
much.
you. It's an honor to
Let's
be
give you
here.
some information. Road to Reconciliation and Beyond. Unlikely Friends Become Brothers by Charlie Norman there. It is jancarrollpublishing.com for